Hey gang, it's your buddy Platt, and today I'm going to show you how to make homemade wine from concentrate. So let's go. So recently in the comment section, a lot of people have been asking me or been referring to my older videos about making homemade wine. A lot of the world unfortunately is in lockdown right now, and we can't get to the liquor store, what have you, and people need booze. So in these conversations, one of the things that keeps popping up is people ask me, what about making wine or alcohol from frozen concentrate? So I thought I would do this video, kind of go over the topic. You could definitely use concentrate. I know in some parts of the world, just that's the easier way to get juice. A couple of things to look for real quick is the ingredients. You want to avoid any kind of preservatives, potassium sorbate, nitrates, nitrites, all those. You want to avoid that. This particular can, I've got a can of grape and a can of apple. We're going to do a kind of blend, a fruit blend, just because there's only a couple of cans left, one of each, what have you. Anyway, back to the ingredients. This is apple juice concentrate, filtered water, and then it has malic acid and ascorbic acid. And this is another part of the reason why I want to do this video. A lot of people have asked me about using orange juice or orange juice concentrate. Orange juice, grapefruit juice, any of these citric juices, their acidity level's too high for the yeast to handle. Now, with the grape and with the apple juice, there is acid in there. There's malic acid and ascorbic acid. But those two acids that will occur in wine making. If you're really into wine or drinking wine, you know acidity plays an important part in the winemaking process, and that there's acid in the wine, but it's the malic acid and the ascorbic acid. And those don't affect the yeast like the citric acid that's in citrus juices. So that's why, again, we're able to make wine from grape juice and apple juice, but you don't see wine really from orange juice. There's a process to take the acid out, but it's a little more complicated. Just makes it more work. So there, like I said, there is acid in there, but it's a kind of a balanced thing. But that's all there are in these. There's no preservatives or whatever. So as long as there's no preservatives, you can go ahead and use it. So, and you want to avoid preservatives. Like I said, we're just doing a blend. 1 can of apple concentrate, 1 can of grape concentrate. Well, makes about 2/3 of a gallon. I'm not going to get too sticky on the measurements because whatever concentrate you buy, whatever store is going to have a different set of measurements. Whatever, you might buy a bigger can that makes straight 1 gallon or half gallon, what have you. So you'll adjust there. With that being said, let's go ahead and make some homemade wine. Alright, so let's get started. First thing I want to do is make sure you have whatever fermenter you're using. You want to make sure you get that sanitized. Any other parts, I've got a airlock. If you don't have an airlock, if you're using like a balloon or what have you, again, you might want to have, if you have some form of sanitizer at home, you might want to make sure that balloon gets clear. If you don't have one of these 1 gallon glass fermenters like I do, any kind of food grade plastic or container, if you have like a 1 gallon water jug, you could use any of that as long as, again, you sanitize it. Just, again, make sure it's food safe and make sure you have it sanitized. As far as our cans of concentrate, we're going to throw in the microwave for 60 seconds to thaw out, and we'll add those. Real quick, I want to note something interesting I saw. On the apple juice, here in America, the land of the apples, Johnny Appleseed, I see our concentrate is from China and the Ukraine. I just noticed that. So all you guys from China and Ukraine, what's going on? So let me microwave this, and we'll come back to add with the water. All right, so we've got our fermenter. I dumped out the sanitizer. We got our clean and rinse, and I added 6 cups of water. This is gonna make us roughly about a half-gallon batch. Don't know if I said that earlier or not. Make us about a half-gallon batch. We added our cold water in. We thawed out our juice. Pour that in. All right. Appears our apple's still a little frozen, so I'm going to thaw this out a little bit more, get it poured in, and then we're going to come back and discuss, do we need to add sugar or not? There's no sugar mentioned in the recipe. Just if I'm just making homemade juice, there's no mention of sugar. But remember, we're making wine, and the yeast need sugar. So let me finish adding this. We'll get it mixed together, and then we'll come back and discuss whether or not we need to add sugar. All right, so our next question is, or the big question is now, is do I need to add sugar? What a lot of people may not know is the juice or the grapes that are used to make grape juice that you see in your grocery store are a different type of grape than grapes used to make wine. And they have less sugar in them than wine grapes. That's why wine grapes are a little more expensive, because they produce more sugar. So it's not a natural given that you wouldn't need to add sugar in homemade wine if you're using it from like a Welch's grape juice or not. So that's why it would be important to do what we're about to do, a gravity reading. There's 2 methods out there for checking this. You can use a hydrometer using what's called specific gravity. It's kind of the buoyancy level of the water. If there's more sugar or something in the solution, you'd get a higher reading. Straight water is just 1.00. Actually, the higher alcohol something gets, the more buoyant. You can actually get below 1.0 on your hydrometer rings, because if you produce enough alcohol. So anyway, we're going to check the hydrometer. You can also use degrees Plato or bricks, little meter. You look up into the light, but we have a hydrometer. That's what we're going to do. So let's check and see where we're at. All right, I'm coming out at 1.080. That's actually pretty good reading. A little rough math in my brain. If we get somewhere down our final gravity to 1.010, we're going to be around 9% alcohol by volume, so that is plenty. Now, if our hydrometer reading was something like 1.040, now we'd be in that 3-4%. We might need a little oomph. There might not have been enough sugar in to carry through the fermentation. You would get a really dry wine, but here we got enough, so we'll go ahead next. Go ahead and add our yeast and come back to wrap up. All right, so I went ahead and added my wine yeast. Just real quick wrap up. I added my wine yeast. Roughly 2 to 3 grams of yeast is what you'll need for a half-gallon batch. Bread yeast will do. I used champagne yeast because I had some left over. Any kind of rapid rise, instant yeast, whatever will work. Nutritional yeast will not work because they deactivate or they end up killing the yeast, so it's not active yeast. So I'm going to make sure it's active yeast in there. Obviously, if you have access to wine, beer, champagne yeast, I encourage you to use that because you're going to hit higher ABVs and have a cleaner fermentation. But again, I understand times are tough out there. We don't have a brewery store, or home brewery store, unfortunately, anymore in Las Vegas because of all the closures and stuff. So, but luckily, I have enough supplies on me. So anyway, half gallon of our juice concentrate. Like I said, we had enough sugar in it. If you have the possibility to check the sugar levels, please do. If not, you can debate whether you want to add sugar or not. Sugar will bump up the ABV a little bit. You're not going to hit 20-30%. no matter how much sugar you add, but it can move you from 7% up to 8, 9%, what have you. But that'll be your decision. If you're worried about too much sugar, diabetes, being too sweet, then honestly don't put it in there. We are going to let this go for 2 weeks, and then we'll rack her off into another fermenter and go ahead and enjoy. So, let me see if there's anything else. I don't know why I'm going blank. Nothing else I can think of. This should be pretty, just straightforward. These homemade wines are really pretty easy. Just whatever juice, non-acidic juice, a little bit of yeast. If you want to add sugar, great. If not, that's fine. And just make sure your container, whatever you're fermenting in, is clean and the CO2 can get out. Well, I hope you liked this video. If you did, please subscribe down below. Also, please like the video because it lets YouTube know we're putting out good content. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, please leave them in the comment section, or you can always contact me on the Twitter page. Well, until next time, bottoms up.